All right. Good afternoon or good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me, and welcome to the Daily Forex Weekly Market Analysis. Before we go any further, we're just going to do a quick risk disclaimer. Very standard stuff you've seen before. Essentially, Forex is a speculative activity, and today's webinar is really for educational purposes only. So it's not designed to give you trading signals or tell you exactly where to trade, but it's really to give you education. Okay, so a little bit about me. My name is Huzefa Hamid. I'm one of the senior analysts with dailyforex.com. I'm primarily a Forex trader, so I trade the 7 or 8 majors, and I trade a few futures contracts as well. So I trade natural gas, even, crude oil, the E-mini S&P futures, occasionally the Russell, but most of my trading is on Forex. I think the most important thing I can really tell you in context for today's market analysis is that I primarily use technical analysis for my decision making. So that means different things to different people. So what I mean by that is I use a price chart. I happen not to use volume, but volume is part of technical analysis, but I use primarily the price chart. I personally don't use any indicators. So I'm looking for support and resistance and perhaps reversal patterns or various chart patterns, but I don't use any indicators on my chart. And we're going to look at some live charts in a little bit. So you'll see that on my charts. You'll see how what my thinking is with the markets. And I'm based in Toronto, Canada. I'm always interested to know where people are from when it comes to these types of webinars. So if you're on Zoom, I know we've got people on Facebook Live, and we've got people on Zoom as well. If you're on Zoom, I'm actually logged into this through Zoom. Let me know which city or country you're from. I'm really interested to know if there's anybody in my neighborhood. Where are you based? If you just type it into just type it into the chat window. Hi, Yasin, Sezi, Rami, Milo, Kingsman Agent FX, and Hussein. Nice to meet all of you. Sazi from New York City. Oh, it's one of the most fun cities I've ever been to. It's definitely been 2 years since I've been because of COVID, but it's been about 5 or 6 years. It's really, honestly, one of the best cities I've ever been to. Hussein from Dubai. I've been to Dubai a few times. I went for a wedding the last time I was there was for a wedding. It's a great place. Kingsman Agent FX, I'm guessing you're a broker from South Africa. Nice to meet you. Galaxy S20, that's your name of your phone. Crosby from South Africa. Nice to meet you as well. All right, I'm always Thami from South Africa. Nice to see you again. I think you've been to my webinars before. I'm always waiting for somebody to be in Toronto or at least nearby, but that hasn't happened yet. Anyway, we'll see. Time will tell. All right, so the market outlook. Let's get cracking with this. The first thing we're going to do is look at the economic calendar. I just want to get an idea of what's going to be driving price over the next week or two. I don't take the economic data and try to interpret it. So I'm not looking at interest rate announcements or GBP or CPI numbers and seeing how they fit in with a country's economy to see how the currency would perform. What economic announcements do is they add a lot of liquidity to the market. So very often an economic announcement will come out. Institutions in particular will trade off them or position their currency reserves from them. So economic announcements in particular will drive trends, potentially reverse trends, and so on. And then we'll look at some actual charts. So I'm going to be looking at all of the majors today. So just moving ahead, we're going to start from, I'm going to do to this week's economic calendar, starting from tomorrow and the following week. So tomorrow it's a pretty big USD CAD day, actually. So I'm going to 3 p.m. GMT, 10 a.m. Eastern time. So I'm in Eastern time. CAD, Bank of Canada. I'm going to stick with the GMT times because people in South Africa and Dubai, I think GMT will make more sense to you. Tomorrow, Bank of Canada monetary statements. And then just after that is going to be a press conference. So keep that in mind if you're trading USD CAD. Thursday, the ECB, European Central Bank, have got the monetary policy statement. And then they've got a press conference about 45 minutes after that. Friday, French PMI, which is like a manufacturing index essentially. So it's a key piece of economic data, really tells you how the economy is humming along. And then about 15 minutes after that, the same data is released except for Germany. So it's really good. Friday morning is going to be really a Euro morning. Following, so Monday, Bank of Japan outlook report is released. And then late here on Tuesday, kind of early morning, Wednesday, is CPI data from Australia. And then Wednesday, all day, our OPEC meeting. So institutions are going to be looking at that to see what they decide about oil output and how that might affect pricing. Wednesday, FOMC statement and Federal Reserve fund rates, and then an FOMC statement just half an hour after that. Thursday, you got some GDP numbers that are being released, and that's it for the next week. Before I really kind of get into the charts, dailyforex.com, if you go to the homepage, you'll see Forex signals on the top right. They are delivered by another of Daily Forex's senior analyst, Adam Lemon. So you just click on that. Right now, we're running a free 30-day trial, a free 30-day trial. I don't know why I can't say those words today. So just click on that. You can get those signals directly to your inbox. Okay, so just a little bit about the time frames I look at. So starting with the kind of the higher time frames, weekly, daily, 4 hour, what I consider the higher time frames for the way I trade. And that's really, and then when you go down the lower time frames, there's an imaginary line for me. So anything under 4 hour, kind of hour, 15 minute, 5 minute, I consider the lower time frames. So I tend to do my analysis of the 4 hour and daily, occasionally weekly if there's a big level that's coming up, that's happening in one of the pairs right now. And then I do my execution of the lower time frames. 15 minute for me is a sweet spot. You don't have to be glued to the screen for 15-minute charts, but it gives you enough time to give you kind of really tight entries, higher risk reward, and so on. Okay, so with that in mind, let's look at, we're going to start off with Euro USD. So this is the daily chart of the Euro USD. Now we've been looking at Euro USD has been in a bit of an uptrend. It looked like the trend was stalling, but I'm personally bullish on Euro USD. We've got a series of high, I mean, you're going back to April now of last year. You've got a series of higher highs. The key level for me is this level that I marked on the chart, 1.1957, 1957 for Euro USD. You can kind of see it stalled around early August at that level, then broke through it decisively. It made a support there. I thought that support was going to hold initially. It stalled, went back down, had a bit of a downtrend from March onwards. Now it's reversing, it's reversed back up. And I think because it's above that key level, I'm back bullish Euro USD. If it holds, it's held above that key level. You go down to the 4 hour chart. So that's the same level now that we'd marked before, 1957. So that's the same level now marked now on the 4 hour chart. You can see how decisive it's been. When you try to pop up above there on the 4 hour chart a couple of weeks ago now, you can see that it held off, and then when it crossed it again a few days ago, it rested above there and it's made a big bounce. So that's why I think that's why I'm pretty much bullish Euro USD. I think so. Euro USD, I'm bullish. Now going on to the pound dollar. So the pound dollar has been in an uptrend for a long while. It's the price squeeze around this 37.58 level, 37.59 level. 1.37589 is where I've drawn my level. I've really drawn it off these highs here where I've got the red arrow. The price started to squeeze around there, then popped up through for a nice bit of a run. It's retraced. It didn't hold that level quite precisely, but what it has done is made like a nice support there, nice double bottom. And we're gonna now just zoom into the 4 hour chart. So this is the double bottom I mentioned in the previous chart. When you go back, so this is the daily, Here you can see the double bottom. Now mark that in purple on the 4-hour chart. So it's hit a resistance point recently. So I'm bullish pound dollar, but I think it's going to retrace a little bit. So hit this resistance point around 1.4, just 5 pips above that, 1.4005 or 4005. So I think it's going to retrace to at least this second gray box here. That's where the last resistance was on the 4-hour. I think it's going to come down a few more pips. What is that? About 30, 50 more pips before it will, hopefully it'll make some kind of a base here or start reversing. I wouldn't just jump in long right now. I wanted to retrace a bit more, essentially to at least this second gray box here. Whoops. And that's where, so I'm bullish pound dollar, but I just wanted to see it just push back down a bit more before getting in. Okay, dollar Swiss. So dollar Swiss, this is an interesting pair. It was in an uptrend for a long time, for a little while. This is the 4-hour chart. The key level I have for dollar Swiss is 0.9213, 9214, somewhere around there. It was off this low here, really. So this is really where I found that the trend started to stall, it started to reverse. It made a support here. I thought that was going to hold at the time. It didn't, it made a higher high, but there you go, and it's broken that support. What I find interesting is that was the support earlier. Then when it tried to test it as resistant, when it came back up, it breached the support, and it really held as resistance. It's kind of tried to pip back up, and there's a big sell-off. To me, that kind of confirms this downtrend up until this point. It's made a bit of a, it's making what a counter move or a corrective move now. So this is the impulse move down. It's making a corrective sideways move. I think we're due for another leg down. It's really struggling to make any headway bullish. So I'm bearish dollar Swiss. Okay, New Zealand dollar, US dollar, NZD USD. So this is a weekly chart, a very long-term chart. And the reason I pulled up the weekly chart is because it's hit, it's recently in the last 4 or 5 weeks, it's bounced against what I think is a key level. I haven't marked the actual level on the chart, the actual number on the chart, but you can see that level I've marked in yellow. It goes back to all the way to kind of November 2018, early 2019, where it met this resistance. It pushed all the way down up until March of 2020, where it made a bottom, and it's been trending up since. So it pushed back through that resistance, and it decided it wanted to have a nice retrace down to that and test that resistance and support. And it's tested it really cleanly, I feel. You look at these two highs back in early 2019, it's tested it almost to like 2 or 3 pips in the last few weeks. So this to me is a very technical level. So it really confirms the uptrend now. It's had a chance to retrace back down, and it says no, it's brought back up where that resistance, where they had that previous resistance, now tests as a support. So one of the things I like to see is a resistance level being tested as support, or vice versa. If a support gets broken, being tested as a resistance. So just now zooming down from the weekly. So based off that long-term chart, I'm bullish. It's a little bit messy when you start getting down to the 4-hour chart. So that previous level that was tested in the previous chart, so I'm going to go back a chart, that's 69.43, 0.6943 on the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. So I've marked it there as the lower level. And the other key level I marked was the 7104 level, 0.71043, 7104. That was a support that was made kind of in the lower time frame, in the 4-hour time frame. Small kind of previous resistance, but it was a proper support a bunch of times this year. Fell through it, landed that previous resistance area, tested that support, then gone back up above, breached that that's gone back above that previous support level. So I'm bullish intraday on the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. And this is now just going down to the 60-minute. So I'll take a step back. The weekly, that's the long-term level. 4 hour, the kind of the medium-term level. And now I'm bullish. I'm bullish based off that. You go to the 60-minute. It's retraced nicely at the moment. So I took this screenshot by about an hour ago as I was prepping these charts. It's if it forms a base around here, kind of just stalls here because it's pushed back down a fair bit. If it just stalls here over the next day or the next 2 or 3 hours, I think it's a nice bullish trade. Stop would be around the 71.40 level, 71.40, 71.50, somewhere around there. Danielle Finessi is asking me AUD USD short. It's a good question. We were just going on to AUD USD short. I'm not feeling that. AUD USD. I'm not feeling that. I'm not shorting AUD USD short. I'm on the whole bullish AUD Aussie dollar, I should say. I'm more bullish New Zealand dollar, USD dollar, as opposed to Aussie dollar, but I'm generally bullish Aussie dollar, US dollar. So the key level for me for AUD USD is 75.81. It's not a clean level. It's more like a zone. You can see it's kind of like it's squiggled a bit there, made a couple of supports around there. What I saw with Aussie dollar, US dollar was a head and shoulders forming as such, and it didn't fail. It didn't go through. It didn't like breach the neckline. It was a failed pattern. So I think that kind of confirms a bullish trend. It had a chance to reverse and it didn't move. So again, shoulder here, left shoulder here, head here, and shoulder here, right shoulder there. So, it had a chance to hit the neckline, 75.81. Didn't really want to move beyond it. And then in fact did the opposite. It's really kind of rejected that level. It's had a nice big bullish candle on the way up. I feel more, but I think there's more reason to be bullish New Zealand dollar, US dollar, but I'm generally bullish Aussie dollar, US dollar. Okay, USD CAD. In the long term for USD CAD, it's in a downtrend in the long term, but it's a really messy downtrend. It's really, I find USD CAD has been, or dollar CAD, just been difficult to get into. The last entry that I saw, and I missed it, I saw this in hindsight, was this level here, 2630, 26,299 to 2630. It made this resistance. It made a really clean kind of pin bar, reversal bar against this resistance. This is in the 4 hour chart. This was a nice easy entry. After that kind of resistance got that pin bar completed, you can really see it kind of lined up well with this previous resistance. And then it's been pushing down. You would have felt no heat in that trade. This is the last support. So I expect the support to get tapped at some point on the way down. I just find it's a downtrend, but it's super volatile. It's really big retraces on the way down. There is a trend line you could draw, I guess. I'm not fond of angular trend lines. I really want horizontal support and resistance levels. I find them more consistent. So bearish dollar CAD, it's just, I find it a difficult pair to get into. If you're using indicators like moving averages, or you've got an RSI or something that's helping you to confirm direction, that's absolutely fantastic. Maybe you have a better idea about how and when you should be getting in. Okay, dollar yen. Dollar yen is looking interestingly bearish. So this is similar to Aussie dollar. When I say similar, you've got this kind of a reversal here. It's not quite a clean head and shoulders, except this time it did breach this neckline. So my key level, 108.45. See, it kind of made a support there. Then when it came back down, so it started trending down. It's been trending down since the beginning of this month, beginning of April. But I thought, okay, at that time, as it was trending down, approaching this level, I thought, okay, it's going to stall or bounce against this level. It didn't. It decided to break through it. And then when it tried to come back up, it made a bullish candle to come back up to that support level, and it just sold off immediately. It's now what it's done is taking that support area, 108.45, gone back down below it, and then tested as a resistance. So I'm bearish dollar yen. Okay, so before I give you my final thoughts, I'm just going to go through the charts and just do a quick recap of everything. So euro dollar, US dollar, bullish, that's my key level, 1957. It was a resistance prior, made it a support, tested as resistance, but then popped back above it. It looks like it's closed neatly above it with a nice big bullish candle on the daily. This is a really nice reversal pattern. I really thought it was going to hold at the time and just continue going up. We decided we wanted to take a bit of a deeper retrace. If you look at these kind of support areas, kind of lines up with this area here. So it really want to go down, get some liquidity, and now it's been moving up, and that's on the 4-hour chart. It gives you kind of a cleaner view, and you can really see that this level is pretty dominant. When it popped back above it, it's made a nice big push back up over it. Pound dollar, bullish. There's my level, 37.59. Price squeeze initially. I got this level off the tops here. A bit biased here. I took a bullish trade around here when it broke out. So I got a few pips from that. It went back down to test it. It's made a double bottom here, and it's pushed back up. And you can see that on the 4-hour chart. But right now, I think it's due for a bit of a retrace still for a few hours to a day or so before it moves back up. It really has to. If you want to be played safe, you can wait till it breaks 1.405, 1.4 roughly, 40.05. Dollar Swiss, bearish. There's my key level, 92.13. Was a support, broke it, tested it as a resistance, and really sold off it. So it's really continuing the downtrend it started since the beginning of this month. And if you look back, you go back a month or two, you can scroll back on your own charts. There isn't much of a support. It's got good couple of hundred pips it can really fall, before it really lands as last kind of key support level. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, bullish, especially in the week, tying in right now on a great weekly level, 69.43 from memory. Broke it, tested it almost to the pip on the weekly. So back from like late 2018 and early 2019, tested that level 4 weeks ago. And just go scrolling in to the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, 71.04 is the short-term support. It's made and it's pipped back above that. So bullish New Zealand dollar, US dollar. And there you can see it's lining up nicely right now on the 60-minute chart. Aussie dollar, US dollar, bullish. That's my key level. It's a failed head and shoulders. I would rather go in for New Zealand dollar, US dollar over Aussie dollar, to be honest. And USD CAD, bearish, but just a pain in the butt to get into. Danielle, Euro Yen. I'll come back to that if I've got a second. I just want to make sure I get my final thoughts out, and I'll come back to Euro Yen. And Aussie dollar, US dollar. Sorry, Aussie dollar yen. What am I talking about? US dollar yen. So dollar yen, bearish. Apologies for getting my pairs mixed up. 108.45, support broken, bearish on dollar yen. And my final thoughts: if the chart isn't clear for you, just stay away. It's absolutely fine. I'm looking at all for these market analysis, I'd look at all the majors. But it's really out of the 7 or 8, there's really about 1 or 2, maybe 3 trades I really want to take. So if it's not clear to you, stay away, go to a different time frame, look at a cross, or just wait till the chart kind of unfolds. Wait till it reaches a level that you think is substantial on your chart. We don't get to talk about these in these 30-minute presentations, but always mind your risk. I've talked to you about my bullish, bearish biases, my key levels, but you get into a trade. Where are you going to place a stop loss? Do you have a target in mind? And is that target a decent size compared to that stop loss? Are you getting positive reward risk ratios? And if you want to give me a shout, give me a call on, or give me an email even, on Huzefa@dailyforex.com. Feel free just to give me a shout. I love to meet other traders. It's a pretty it's a pretty lonely business at the best of times. You're looking at a chart. It's always nice to hear from other traders. I'm going to flip over to and share my screen for a question I've got for the euro yen. So if you bear with me one moment, I'll bring that up. There you go. Okay, euro yen. I haven't looked at this, Danielle, for a long while, so I haven't even seen the levels I've drawn. So let's have a look at the wow, I must have looked at the weekly last time I looked at it. Okay, so you made this triangle formation. So right off the top of my head, I'm bullish euro yen. Let me remove this for a second. Let me remove these lines. I'm essentially bullish euro yen. So you've got a low there, two big lows, lower lows. This is the resistance area that really has to. So let's see where that is. So 137.62. It's got a while. It's in a nice uptrend at the moment. So this is in the daily. What does that look like? And how messy is in the 4 hour? Ooh, that's it doesn't look fantastic on the 4 hour, I won't lie. That's really where it has to stay above. Like it's try to get above that. It's sold off pretty hard. So you might see a retrace down to about here, based just on that sell off, really. Oops. Yeah, to around that level, just eyeballing it. But really, it's just try to move up above that, and it's really moved down hard. So I want to see it just go above that level, that resistance area, and kind of settle above there. Then I'd be bullish. I wouldn't be bearish on this. I don't personally like going against these long-term trends. So it's made a pin bar there, and you can see that on the lower time frame. It really needs to just settle above that area for me to be bullish again. Danielle, I hope that answered your question. Unfortunately, I can't. I'm on Zoom, and I think, Danielle, you're logged in over Facebook Live, so I can't communicate with you directly. But shoot me an email, Danielle, if you want me to go into that a bit further. Okay, it's 2:29 on the dot, 2:29 Eastern time. That is. We do try to make sure we end these things on time. So appreciate you coming. I hope that was useful to you, and I wish everyone a fabulous week. I know we're living in some very strange times at the moment. So wherever you are, hope you're safe and you're happy and you're able to get on with your lives. And thank you very much for attending. It's been great. Take care. Bye now.